Hey, my name is Ryan with Shoe, and today I'm doing my initial review of the Craft & Glory service boot in the Ravens Black colorway. What do I think of this boot? Do I think it's worth your money after wearing it a little bit? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please enjoy. So first things first, I need to bring up when I talk about this boot is that it was not given to me to review. I actually purchased this boot, but there's kind of a story to that. Craft & Glory sent me another pair of their boots, their Gurkha boots, and they didn't fit me, so I sold them on eBay, and then I bought these because I really loved the feel of the last. It was just a little bit too tight, and I really wanted a black boot that wasn't so serious. I don't know. Something about white stitching on a black boot, like the Indie boot or other boots I've seen, I'm just not a huge fan of. I wanted a clean black boot that I could kind of dress down when I wear my blacks and charcoals on a casual basis. But so I went with this boot, and I bought it with my own money. But because I have worked with Craft & Glory in the past, I do have an affiliate link to these boots. But rest assured, what I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you the things I really don't like about this boot. I'm going to be honest, and I do think it's worth the money, well worth the money. But you have to know that I do have some connection with this brand and with this company. I also want to talk about what I plan to do with this boot in the future, because I'm going to do something interesting and I will make a video of it. So if you aren't subscribed if you're into what I'm about to say. Basically what I want to do is I want to try to weather leather. Yeah, that was really awesome, right? Basically, I want to take a boot that is like this black shiny boot, and basically make it matte. I am not a huge fan of shiny boots. I don't know why. I am a huge fan of like shiny shoes. I love my shell cordovan dress shoes and my, calfskin dress shoes, and I'll even put a nice polished toe on them to dress them up. But when it comes to boots, I'm always using boots in a casual setting. And so many boots just come with shiny leathers. Now this is just me, but I want to see what I can do to kind of take the shine out of a boot. And that's what I'll be doing with this boot. I'm actually going to be doing a method that I saw on Tested, which if you don't know, that's Adam Savage. He has I don't know if it's his channel, like a sub channel that they run where he does like patina process on stuff for movies. But I'm going to see if I can do some of that to this black boot, because what I really want to do is I want to take my 403s, my Alden Indies that are that brown chrome excel, and I want to put a patina on those just for fun. I actually bought another pair just to do that with, and we'll be documenting that whole process. So that's why I got these. That's the journey I've been on with this exact boot. But I really want to show you that this boot is a really nice boot, and you're getting a lot for the money. It's not a perfect boot, but it really is a good company, and I really just love the look of this shoe, the shape of it. I like to get every single one of their leathers in this shape in this service boot, but that will come in the future. And you might notice, if you have a keen eye, that these aren't the laces that I showed in the first two videos. I know it comes with black laces and like the yellow construction-y laces, and I asked you which laces I should rock, and now I haven't even listened to you. Well, I'm sorry, that's because I had some leftover rawhide laces with that, natural edge, and I just thought it looked perfect with this boot. I mean, doesn't that look cool? I mean, I'm into it, but let me know if you guys are into it. But what we'll do, kind of a normal kind of setup, is we'll turn the camera around, we'll do a deep dive into this boot, then we'll try them on and we'll get some sizing advice, because these are sized a little bit strange. They size a little bit weirder than your average boot. So let's turn the camera around. So I don't plan on spending a ton of time doing this, because I already kind of did this in the initial unboxing of it, and I kind of threw that video together because they were on sale, and I wanted you guys to get a chance at that sale before it ran out. It was running out that day, so I just threw together something really quick. So we're not going to belabor the point here, but this boot is the worst of the two. So of course, there's always one boot that's a little worse in any boot that I've ever purchased, and this is it. And we're going to look at the flaws of this boot and just kind of show you what type of flaws will be available. See how I spun that? Will be available with these boots. But first of all, I mean, this is just such a gorgeous shape. I love the shape of this boot. So to me, like, a long story short, if you want to just listen to this next couple seconds and then tune out, this boot is worth more than the cost. To me, this is like a $275 boot. It's not a $600 boot. It's not a $500 boot, not even a $400 boot. It's just, about a $275, $300 boot. And you're paying like $250 when it's all said and done. But I just love the shape of it. To me, the shape of a boot, how it looks, if it works, I don't care. you know, I'll buy it. If even like a 1,000-mile boot, you know, people trash those boots, but I like the shape of a 1,000-mile boot, so I purchased it. Purchased a couple of them. It's not the perfect boot, but it's still well worth the money. So let's talk about some of the things I don't love about this boot while highlighting the stuff I do. First of all, the leather midsole. I'm guessing what is this, a sole or a midsole when you have a half rubber outsole? I'm not sure, you know, and that's really sad. So I should know that. But it's just super thin. So the leather midsole is just a very, very thin midsole. So that's not a huge deal, but in the pictures it shows it thicker. I would prefer it to be a little bit thicker than that. That is a very thin leather midsole. Not a huge deal, but you know, something to note. The heel stack too, it seems a little bit shorter than the photos, but I don't know if that's because this is like their biggest boot that they make. This is the size 13 or size 12 UK, 13 US. But that's just a couple things to know. And then with the leather, you know, the leather, I've got some loose grain here. I mean, you've probably already seen it, but there's a nice little bit of loose grain. I have been wearing these around, so I do have creasing already. So that is one thing I need to note. But even on the little butt crack right there, there's some loose grain. Can you see that? Yeah. And then here on the back stay, it comes up with a little bit of loose grain. I mean, this is not a $500 boot by any means, but you know, still totally doable. But there is just some loose grain with the boot. But the stitching, I'm just looking at the boot as I'm talking about it because how unprofessional I am. But look at the stitching. The stitching is just really pretty. It's just really well done. I know it's like hand stitched the bottoms, and so it's not perfect, but it's really, that's really well done. The welt stitching, everything, you know, pretty good. Michael Corleone, give him a follow on Instagram if you already haven't. But he kind of commented on these boots. They look like the Beckman, which I think is a perfect comparison. I like the shape of these better than the Beckman, and I do like that these have a leather heel stack instead of that just thick Red Wing heel stack that they have on the Beckman. But yeah, you definitely see that's what they were going for. I mean, the rivet is, you know, something unique, something kind of a little bit vintage, and I like it. I know some people hate it, but you know, that's fine. It's good. But then you go inside the boot, and another thing that's just not the greatest is, you know, it comes with that nice sock liner that's removable, but I like to just rock this veg tan insole, and it's just not the thickest either. It's plenty thick, and then you have a cork layer in between. You have a nice veg tan heel counter, so you have a lot of good stuff in this boot, but it could just be beefed up a little bit. But remember what the price point is that we're talking about. Let's talk a little bit about sizing with these, because I believe it's going to be the same with the Gurkha boot too, and I'm not really thinking it's the same with the monkey boot I have. But what I did with this is I went true to size and just kind of up a little bit. This is why you cannot listen to boot YouTubers, because I've really kind of found out that I'm really like a 12 3/4. I'm not a 13, I'm not a 12 1/2, but I'm like a 12 3/4, which I'd kind of call a 12 1/2 D or a 13 C. So what I did is I went true to size 13 US with this boot, and it is perfect. Because I don't rock that insole, I could rock the insole and it would be a little bit snugger and it would still be fine for me. But because I don't rock it, it is a little bit looser. So I still think, you know, getting it 13, going true to size, your US size, don't go half a size down. Just, I know that seems like that's crazy when it comes to heritage boots, but when it comes to this service boot, when it comes to their Gurkha boot, just go true to size and it should fit. I love having that little removable sock liner because, I don't know, times where I want it to be a little bit tighter, I can do that, and then I can remove it in the wintertime when I want to rock a thick wool sock. But that's just, you know, something to know. True to size. So I do feel like when I have the liner in, there isn't a ton of room. It just feels nicely cradled. It's like that firm handshake that Tech from Bootlossophy talks about. And when I remove the sock liner and I'm rocking just the veg tan, I do have like a little bit more room in the boots. Even the volume, of course, that would make sense because that foam adds a lot of volume to the boot, but it all kind of works out nicely. Since I'm between sizes, I think, you know, if you do true to size and you really need to remove the foam sock liner, it's not a big deal because it's actually super comfortable, especially since they got rid of the screws that hold down that heel. But I'll just kind of put this together, and let's actually just fast forward because this isn't really that interesting. All right, there we go. We're all set up now. And it is just a super comfortable, super nice boot. It's flat, so you're not getting really arch support here. It's a very flat boot, but it's just a good boot. The Vegetan insole, will break in nicely. I've already broken in a pair of these with that insole, and even with my monkey boots, people were flipping out saying that, oh my goodness, you are going to tear up your heels with those screws that are in the heel. But I never did. It was totally fine. And these have nails in the heel now, and it's just even more comfortable. Maybe what would be perfect with these boots is like a half sock liner, like has done in so many other boots, but that's not what they have. This is what they've got. This is an amazing boot, well worth the price. Love this boot. Love how comfortable it is. Love the overall shape and appearance of it. Love how it's kind of a dressed down black boot, but I really want to buy it in the vintage brown. I think that would look really cool. And I think, I know with a lot of collectors, you don't mess around with these inexpensive boots, but I love a good inexpensive boot. A value boot like this where you're in the 200s and you're getting Vegetan insole, Vegetan midsole, you're getting hand stitch, you're getting a Vegetan heel stack, you're getting a nice leather. It's just really cool to me. I love that you can get this now in the boot market instead of before, we were just, for years it felt like you had to pay $350 to $400 to get something like this, and then you were kind of stuck with it at that price. But really like it. If you like these, go check out the link. It helps the channel. Everything that I make off of my links, I put right back into the channel. So rest assured there too that I'm not profiting like crazy. I make nothing to do these. Actually, I lose a lot of money making these videos because of the boot cost, but I get the boots, so I can't complain. And actually, I shouldn't complain. But yeah, let me know what you think of the boots. I'm going to do that patina project with these where I kind of rough them up using household stuff, and then if it goes really well, I'm going to do it on one of the pairs of 403s that I have. And we're not doing anything dramatic here. We're just trying to kill the shine. I'm tired of every boot being shiny. No, we're just trying to kill the shine. Please subscribe if you're into that, and I will see you on the next one. I almost didn't do my infamous top-down shot. So this is what you see from your angle if you were to buy the boots. Just a really handsome shape, not bulbous, not pointy, kind of a mix in between. Kind of like what I was talking about if you saw my Thursday Heritage review. It's kind of like a nice in-between. Like this does it even a little bit better, this in-between type of last, where it still has a lot of toe space, like a lot of toe volume. So you can wiggle your toes, but it doesn't look as clown-like as an Iron Ranger. And that's coming from a person who is a huge fan of the Iron Rangers, but just an overall really comfortable, really good-looking boot from all angles. So again, I will do my sign-off. I will see you on the next one.